So they just added TETRA rifle to the gear hub, which is actually very surprising because I was expecting Dreadshot to be next. This is really good though. TETRA rifle is a fantastic weapon, easily the best sniper weapon overall. It's not in the top meta, but I would consider it to be an S tier weapon. So I'm going to be trying it on a bunch of stuff. These are the implants that I'm going to be using for all of these builds. Level 3 damage and reload rare. I think damage and reload are the best 2 implants for it. And yeah, I'm going to try it on Redeemer first. This build is standing in for my Orion, so I don't have Orion in this hangar. Hello. This is a pretty good weapon. It's relatively like, it's sort of a pseudo-brawler. Because the damage output's really good. Sustained fire is actually pretty darn high. The reload, as you can tell, it's like 4 seconds. It's extremely short reload, which works really nicely for like tanks, right? Gives it more of like a brawler vibe. That guy should have died to that. Yeah. The problem that you're going to have to, the thing you're mostly going to have to watch out for is the fact that your first 3 shots do essentially nothing, and in order to make your 4th shot do something, you need to make sure that you hit your other shots. So it's essentially a lot of damage, but on a 1 shot that you just, yeah, nice. It's essentially a lot of damage, but on a 3-second time delay. Because you have to fire 3 shots. Your RPM is 600, your real RPM, not listed RPM. 1 shot per second, right? Okay, nice. I don't think I can really manage to get that beacon, to be honest. Like, I could try, I guess, but I don't think it's gonna happen. So, I mean, good weapon for Redeemer. Good weapon for a lot of things, actually. And I'll get into some details when you're thinking Orion as well. Yeah, I got some things to say about that build, so we'll cover that. Just being able to... Oh, he quit. Well, that's unfortunate, but still, I mean, you saw what I was doing, right? Just kind of poking out from cover. The nice thing about this as well, built-in shield piercing, so you don't need Orion in order to do good damage. You can use it on Orion, but you don't need it. That's the thing with Railgun, right, is that in order to do good damage with Railgun, you need it on Orion, because you need that shield piercing. That's not the case with Tetra Rifle. Tetra Rifle you could use on anything. Tetra Rifle is easily the best sniper on any non-Orion mech. It's not even close. 130 meters range. Let's see. How many kills are? Oh, 11. That's not bad. It's about as many as I get with an Orion. The damage implant only applies to the last shot, by the way, so it's not just, it's not a general, like, straight up damage increase. Alright, I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad. And that's on Redeemer. Redeemer doesn't really have any, like, protection or anything crazy going on with it. Alright, we have it on Lancer now, and we got some mods on this, obviously. This is not the best Lancer map. I can make it work though. I can get up, like, up there. And we're gonna see. I mean, max level Lancer, right? Decent energy capacity, decent HP. Mostly just gonna see how well that works. Rest is kind of annoying. Don't really care. Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna wait for my suppression to wear off. I mean, I can charge it up, but I'm gonna get out of here. And we're... Ah, there. Okay. 1, 2... Ah, stop that. 3, 4... Ah, I missed one of my charge shots. That's always the problem, right? Boom. Okay. I think staggering shots makes a little bit more sense. I'm probably gonna do that. I'm gonna jump up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop that. That's really annoying, that Panthers. The Panthers being really annoying, actually. Stop. Yeah. Of course the bot's gonna shoot at me. It was waiting for me to jump, like, realistically. I can kill you. No. Don't do that. Dummy. 2, 3, 4. Ah, crap. Yeah, and then also, this is a weapon that you really need to be able to hit all 4 of your shots in a magazine. Like, you can't really afford to be missing one. Especially not the last one. Like, it's forgiving in the sense that the reload's pretty short, but it's not forgiving in the sense that you really rely on hitting your last shot in order to deal good damage, and in order to deal good damage with your last shot, you also kind of rely on hitting your previous 3. So, yeah, if you're not good at aiming, maybe don't bother using this one. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Alright, we have it on Aegis now. This one's going to be a bit more of a brawler type thing. Good damage output just on, like, again, like I said, like 3-second time delay. So staggering weapons is probably going to be a good idea during the shield duration. Get both of those off. It's an Aegis, it's not going to work. Well, actually, hold on. Stop. There we go. You... I don't wanna... Alright. Dang. I didn't even kill that Zephyr, that's actually crazy. Because it wasn't charged up all the way. I thought maybe he was AFK, so I didn't want to shoot him, but like, why did he spawn in the middle? If he was just gonna not do a whole lot. Boom, 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 boom. Ah! Oh, come on. Alright, got on Sentinel now. Sentinel is not the best mech, but in terms of snipers is actually, I think, better than Ares. It's potentially stronger than Ares. The downside is just that the shield is really bad. But if you're really far back, you're not exposing your sides. The further back you are, the more protected you are in terms of, like, your sides and whatever. So he's not going to want to rush me again just yet. Okay, you just went away. Fair enough. I'll take that. Yeah. Okay, so the main problem that I'm gonna make note of in terms of Sentinel is that on a map like this, where the sniper strategy is essentially just to kind of poke out from cover, Sentinel, and this goes for any mech that has low weapon mounts, Sentinel's weapon mounts are really low. And it just makes it difficult. It makes it so that I have to poke myself out more. I have to expose more of my mech. I have to walk further up the ramp, essentially, in order to have the same coverage that something else would. And that's just kind of a general overarching downside with low weapon mounts. That's why when a new mech comes out, I will, if it has low weapon mounts, then I will usually mention that. I'll be like, yeah, it also has low weapon mounts. It just makes it harder to, like, poke out from cover and do stuff with that. But yeah, theoretically, I mean, this will work better than Aegis, I think, right? And it'll work better than Aegis because... Okay. Because you got protection for longer, you have less HP on your protection, but your protection lasts for as long as you need it, and it only goes away once it takes damage. So it's guaranteed that it's, you know, at least doing something for you. I'm actually gonna wait for this guy. Hold on. No. See, unlike Orion, you can't just, like, shoot anywhere with the TETRA rifle piercing. You can't just shoot anywhere and get damage with it. You can do that with Orion, but not with this. Thank God that is a pulse cannon bot and not something that's actually dangerous, because I would have totally died. This is a really nice sniper map, so I'm doing pretty well here. It's not necessarily to say that this build is going to be, like, way better than any of the others. It's mostly just because I got lucky with this map, to be honest. But like I said, I do think this is actually a decent build at this SP anyway. It's going to be better than Aegis, I think. Boom, get out of here. Oh, I'm barely alive. Let's go. See, those are the kind of numbers that you'll pull in with, like, an Orion. So the fact that you can do it without any damage boost, period, is actually very good. That's very strong. Alright, so last mech here, we have it on Orion. Obviously, compared to Railgun, it has more shield piercing, because the weapon itself has built-in shield piercing of 15%, and you also get the shield piercing from the ability. Which means that certain kills you don't necessarily need to be using the ability for. A lot more forgiving in terms of reload time, but again, you have to treat it as if it's essentially, because that's essentially what it is, right? It's essentially a lot of damage on a 3-second time delay. And so if you treat it like that, then you start to kind of realize it's not the greatest weapon on Orion. I mean, it's okay. It's fine. It's still a sniper weapon. Most sniper weapons can do decently on Orion. And it's got really good damage, so it's not a bad weapon by any means. But similar to, like, Pod Gun, for example. Pod Gun is not as ideal. It is really good on Orion, just not as good, I think, mostly because of the simple fact that it's got a 2-second time delay. And that's really just it, right? The time delay makes it so that Orion, which normally could kill things really, really quickly, is limited in terms of how quickly it can actually kill. And that's not usually a good thing. Alright, I got 2 charges, 2 things charged up. You can see on the ammo reticle too, it shows a little 2 next to my... Ow! Well, I can just tell by the color of it, but it'll also show you like the number of charges that you have on it. There's a couple other mechs that I could use it on, but the gist of it is essentially you want to have it on something that has either decent mobility, decent protection, or some type of, like, damage boost. So all 3 of those things help, right? Damage boost will boost the final shot damage, which will also boost the amount of damage that pierces through shields, right? Protection is, I mean, pretty obvious, but it's a rather sustained fire weapon, like usually with, like, railgun or something. You poke out for like half a second, you fire your shot, and then you go back into cover, and then you wait for your next shot. With Tetra Rifle, you have to do that 4 times more often for each kill. Your reload's really short, but you have to do that 4 times more often for each kill. It's beneficial to have a mech that's capable of protecting itself in some way. And then, of course, you know, back to the aspect of it just being like on essentially a 3-second time delay, you don't necessarily have instant damage, you don't have immediate damage, so being able to have decent mobility is also very helpful, because that means you can, like, if someone tries to, you know, sneak up on you or something, you can just kind of back off. One of the mechs that I think is actually going to do really well, probably better than Orion, is Stalker. My Stalker is only rank 3, so I can't actually use my 8s on it just yet, but I will probably be ranking up Stalker next. The other mech that I think is probably going to do the best is going to be Panther. If you want to get the double Tetra Rifle 10s instead of like Graviton or Overdriver 10, I actually think that's really valid. I think that's totally valid. Now, I didn't have enough credits to be able to get the Tetra 10 and to duplicate it this video. I probably would have if I did. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's kind of just the best sniper weapon for any mech that's not Orion. On Orion specifically, I still think Railgun's better. People are going to ask me, I still think Railgun's better on Orion because it has immediate damage output. I think the mechanics, the firing mechanics, the damage mechanics, I think all of those are better with Railgun, but it doesn't have the shield pierce, which means that if you put it on a mech that gives it shield pierce, then it's just going to be really good. The weapon with built-in shield pierce, being Tetra Rifle, doesn't really need to be put on Orion. Yeah, like, yeah, it'll do slightly better, but it's not really necessary. So, I mean, if you want the best weapon for Orion, I would go with Railgun still. But if you don't have either one, if you don't have either Railgun or Tetra Rifle, the safe option is Tetra Rifle, because, like, you know, you could choose to put it on Orion, but, like, it'll work good on anything, right? As opposed to Railgun, which is only gonna really work well on Orion, to be honest. Pros and cons to both, as there should be. But, yeah, let me know if you have Tetra Rifle, if you plan to get Tetra Rifle, and if so, what you plan to be using it on. Otherwise, yeah, that'll be it for me. Appreciate y'all. Take care.